Hi, everyone. Welcome again to FD Chaplain Services Inc.'s program Reaching In, Reaching Out. I am your host, Marc Goodman, Executive Director of FD Chaplain Services Incorporated, and just want to encourage you as we look at episode number 6 today, who the Fire Chaplain represents. So grab a notepad, a pen, cup of coffee, and let's just dive in today and see who the Fire Chaplain represents. How you doing, everybody? It is good to be with you again. My name is Marc Goodman, and I am the Executive Director of FD Chaplain Services here in sunny Southwest Florida, Estero, Florida, and I am privileged to be the Fire Chaplain for Estero Fire Department, South Trail Fire Department, San Carlos Park Fire Department, Lehigh Acres Fire Department, and Sanibel Fire Department. And the total of those 5 departments represents probably 500 personnel. So we're busy here in Southwest Florida, as I'm sure you are in your area of the country. We're right in the midst of the coronavirus epidemic, pandemic. So things have been a little bit different for us. So PPE, masks, and self-distancing, and all those things that are necessary right now as we combat that invisible disease that we seem to be getting a handle on now. The curve is flattening, and things are starting to resume to normal. Some refer to it as a new normal. But I pastor a church, and we're going to start opening the church in about 3 weeks. That'll be Father's Day 2020, and be a soft opening. We're still going to encourage folks that are in the high risk categories. Say, you know what, maybe you want to just keep watching on the Facebook live stream on Sunday mornings. We're going to keep that going for a little while. There might be others of other age groups that just have suppressed conditions and other things that might put them in a high-risk category. So we're trying to do things as safely as we possibly can. So again, I represent those fire departments, and I'm talking about who the fire chaplain represents as we go ahead and get into our study today. And just want to encourage you, if you're a fire chaplain, several things. You need to be a part of a professional organization. And I would strongly recommend the Federation of Fire Chaplains, and you can go online. You can just Google Federation of Fire Chaplains, pull up their website, and you can be a chaplain member or an associate member. If you're serving as a chaplain right now, you've been designated by a fire chief, and you're acting as a fire chaplain for a department. And if you have an ecclesiastical endorsement, or if you're clergy, and if you've taken the Essentials of Fire Chaplaincy course by an approved instructor, you can become a member. Just a brief commercial here for FD Chaplain Services Inc. You can go to fdchaplainservices.com and go to our training page and see upcoming trainings. The Essentials of Fire Chaplaincy class is a two-day, 16-hour course. If you take it in Florida, and you're certified as a Florida fire inspector or a Florida fire service instructor 1, 2, or 3, you can get credit for those 16 hours applicable to your recertification. So fdchaplainservices.com, and you can check out our website, our photo gallery that shows previous classes that we've had all over the state of Florida and up in Lebanon County, Pennsylvania. So I'm going to be heading up there again in August. God willing, and the COVID-19 virus all settled down so that we can have in-person classes again. So want to direct your attention to that. So, all right, let's get into today's study. And who does the fire chaplain represent? And I would say first and foremost, we represent God. We have been called by God to provide spiritual care and comfort and other practical helps to those that are in need. Those might be firefighters, fire personnel, might be crisis victim ministry, but we serve God. We've been called by God, and we serve God. We are His hands and feet to the fire department, so we represent God. Now, you're going to find that, especially when you deal with crisis victim ministry, representing God may seem like a heavy weight on your shoulders, because folks may be angry, and part of their grieving process and just the anger, and they get mad at God, and God isn't there, but you are, and you represent God, so you might be the brunt of some language and some frustration. But understand that it's the grief that those people are feeling as a result of the tragedy that they've experienced. So first of all, you represent God. You represent your fire chief. Your fire chief has placed enough confidence in you based on your standing in the community, based on your personality. We've talked about the personality and personhood of the fire chaplain, and you're the man or woman that's been assigned that task and appointed to that position by the fire chief, and we serve at the pleasure of and under the direction of the fire chief. So you represent God, you represent the fire chief, you also represent the fire department that you serve. I'm wearing my uniform this morning as I'm talking to you, and I'm proud to wear the badge. I'm proud to wear the uniform, whether it's a polo shirt or a t-shirt or a ball cap. I want to represent the department well. I want those that see me in serving as a benefit, as an asset to the fire department. You might also, if you're a local pastor, or maybe you're a spiritual leader, a deacon, maybe you teach a Sunday school class, adult Bible study, somewhere you're a spiritual person in your church, you're going to be representing your church because of your standing in that faith community. You may be representing your denomination. You may have been given your ecclesiastical endorsement or approval by them to be a chaplain, from whether it's a Baptist, Lutheran, Pentecostal, whatever Assembly of God, but the recognition is there from your denomination. So you're representing that denomination or that local church. Who else do you represent? Well, I would say, along with the fire chief and the fire department, you're representing the firefighters. You're their advocate. You're the one who is there to give them wise counsel. You're the one that they will call upon in times of trouble or in times of need or a tragedy in their life. So you represent them. When you wear the uniform and you're standing with them, the public doesn't know, well, that's the chaplain necessarily, and those are the firefighters. All who wear that uniform are identified with that organization. So represent the organization well. You represent other chaplains. I have heard countless stories of fire departments that had chaplains that they really weren't that crazy about their fire chaplain. Either they determined that that person wasn't in it for the right reason, or they were just there for the sirens and riding on the fire truck, or just to have a badge or a polo shirt, and a t-shirt says I've done that, and they really didn't care well for their fire crews. And we've talked about that in the past. We have to be real. Firefighters know what real is, and they know what fake is, and they will run from the fake, and they will shun the fake, but they will accept in wholeheartedly those that are real and those that care. So you represent other chaplains. There are chaplains that might have been overbearing in one way or another. Maybe they were the ones that carried a Bible into the station and said, okay, let's have a Bible study today, when they've got a whole list of other duties to accomplish, and maybe some of them aren't as spiritual as others. Maybe some don't have any faith at all, and just the presence of a chaplain that was overbearing religiously or spiritually just was a turnoff, and it was just not a good situation. So there have been other chaplains that maybe get too involved, that maybe they want to be there on every call, every scene, and every medical call, and a lot of times the chaplain just isn't necessary all the time. I'd rather have them wanting me and calling me in rather than me pushing my way into a situation. So we have to know and understand our boundaries as well. So, all right. So a lot of us that serve as chaplains, we are going to represent the city or the community or the town or the county or the tribe or the village or whatever the political division is that you represent. Most of them be a town or a city, but you represent that city as well. So if you're traveling as a chaplain, maybe you're providing chaplain services for an adjacent city or town whose chaplain is unavailable, and you've been called to come in and help. That you represent your city, you represent your town. So again, we want to be good representatives. We want to represent well those that we serve. A final group that I believe that we represent is our families. We represent our families. So we want to be spoken of highly in the community. We want to be observed as those who are doing a good job, and we want to make our families proud as well. That we may have other vocations as well. Some may be pastors. Some may be those that are on the fire department and serve the fire department in a dual capacity as either a firefighter lieutenant or a fire marshal or a captain or assistant chief, and also provide the services of a fire chaplain as well. So we want to represent our families well, so that we're just seen well in the neighborhood, in the city, in the county we work, in the state. Basically it comes down to reputation. We want to have a good reputation, and we want that reputation to reflect even onto our families. And I'm going to add one. I think maybe another one of the most important ones, besides God, is ourselves. We represent ourselves. How do we carry ourselves? What is our character? What is our demeanor? What do people think about me? How do I view people that view me? So I want to make sure that I am always putting my best foot forward, and that I'm neat, I'm clean, I'm well groomed, and I stay current on subjects and issues that are near and dear to the fire service. So that's in a nutshell who we represent. So going to give you a little bit of a bonus today, and talk about accountability too, because we are all accountable to someone or something. So I think that plays in very well to who we represent is who we also have an accountability to as well. So looking at this in three ways: of vertical accountability, a horizontal accountability, and an ethical and legal accountability as well for what we do. So the vertical would be represented by God and the fire chief. And a lot of times the fire chief thinks he's God. Well, we know he's God. We treat him like God. He is the boss. He is the supreme leader, and he didn't get there by just luck. It's by hard work and determination and dedication of service and years of service and experience and aspiring and climbing that ladder of success in the fire service that led ultimately to the position of fire chief. So we have a vertical accountability to the fire chief. We always work at the pleasure of the fire chief and under his leadership. Now, that may be extended when we're on a scene to an incident commander, a company officer, but you get the picture. We're at this level, and our accountability is up here. So to God and the fire chief, that's vertical. Our horizontal accountability is to our families and our faith communities. So those of us who are pastors that serve in the role of a fire chaplain, we need to be careful to make sure that we're not giving an overabundance of time towards the fire department and neglecting those in our own congregations and our communities of faith. So there's a balancing act that needs to happen so that we are spending appropriate amounts of time for each. So take care of your flock, take care of your faith community and family. We don't ever want to let our work as a chaplain sacrifice our families. Now, our families understand that we are making a sacrifice of time, and they are making a sacrifice that whenever we are out doing chaplain duties and having a cup of coffee at the fire station or drilling with the fire crews and having fun, that's time away from our families. So we need to be cognizant of that. Guys, date nights, definitely a good thing. Make sure you know what your spouse's love language is. So study your spouse or your significant other so you can be feeding into their love tank and speaking their love language, because they love us and they allow us to do what we do. So again, vertical is God and the fire chief, horizontal is family and our faith community. And we also have some accountability in the areas of ethical and legal arenas. And for ethical, I would say confidentiality. Confidentiality. We need to be holding confidences. We need to not be blabbermouths. That was the other thing I forgot to mention on some departments that have had a chaplain that they really weren't crazy about, because that person couldn't hold the trust. They would spill the beans. They would, because firefighters, they'll try to figure out anything, say, oh, so and so must be having marital problems, aren't they? Well, your answer better be, well, that's none of your business. But a chaplain that might get sucked into that conversation, oh yeah, but they'll get through it. They've just busted confidentiality. They've just maybe tanked or ruined their chaplaincy if they're determined to be somebody that, hey, if I can't go to that person and in privacy and confidence, if I think they're going to be telling everybody all my business, then I don't want to be a part of that. So all right. The other is a legalist, professional integrity. I remember one time that I was on a death scene, and the parents were there, and the sister was there, and it was a time we were waiting for the medical examiner had made their determination that there wasn't any foul play. They turned the deceased over to the family members, and then the process is that they'll call a funeral home, and the funeral home will make arrangements to come pick up the body and prepare for whatever memorial or cremation or maybe traveling, taking the body to another state to be buried and have a service. Don't know, but it was one of those situations where in the meantime I was waiting for the funeral home to get there, and I was looking all around, and this guy had a lot of cool stuff. He had surfboards, and he was a musician, and guitars and ukuleles all over, and a wine collection. And I made the comment to the family. I said, well, he must have been really talented. Look at those guitars. And they grabbed one. They said, do you play? And I said, well, a little bit. And they put it in my hand, and I strummed it a little bit and went to hand it back. And they said, oh, no, you keep it. You keep it. He would probably want you to have it. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't think so. These folks were so gracious, and they were so concerned about my well-being, and they offered me his stuff. And an unscrupulous chaplain, or one that doesn't have any morals or ethical boundaries or a moral compass, might say, oh, sure, could I have that one too? And when what I really said was, no, I am sure that he had lots of friends that were musically inclined, and I'm sure that one of them would love to have that guitar. So I was, I didn't bark it back to them or scold them for even offering. No, I was very gracious in my response. Say thank you, but no, that's that just wouldn't be appropriate. And his friends and you guys in the next days and weeks, you'll figure out where all that stuff needs to go and who would really like to have it and who would benefit from it. So professional integrity. So we need to be those that can be trusted with confidence. You're going to be privy to all kinds of information that they don't want other firefighters to know. They may not want administration to know. They may have an alcohol problem or a pill problem or some other issue, and where you have the opportunity to intervene and to help them get help for those issues in their life. Maybe if they are having a relational struggle or marriage struggle, that you would be able to be the bridge there. Maybe you would be able to offer some wise counsel, or maybe offer a marriage counselor that might be able to intervene and help with them. So that's it today. That's who we represent and are some of the few accountability issues. And as we go through this series of instructions on how to be the best chaplain can be, we'll talk about more. We'll go more in depth on all of these things. I'm just kind of, this is episode number 6, just kind of laying a foundation so then we can really dive in deep on some of these things. So again, I want to thank you. My contact information is up there. chaplainfd@gmail.com is my email address. You can go to fdchaplainservices.com. Here, let me put that back up. There's the phone number. You can call or text if you have any need to. And there on the challenge coin you see is fdchaplainservices.com. And I would say go to the website, get our mailing address, and there's also the ability to make a donation on the FD Chaplain Services website. And for a donation of any size, I will send you a FD Chaplain Services challenge coin. So I'm glad you were with me here today, and we're going to have fun as we continue this. Just want to let you know, this is in the beginning of June of 2020. I don't know when you may see this, but as of right now, we're doing a weekly National Fire Chaplain Zoom meeting on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you will email me or text me or call me or find me on Facebook or the FD Chaplain Services Facebook, and ask for the meeting room ID, and then on Thursday nights you can join in with us. It's a time of relationship. We're getting to know chaplains. I'm developing friendships with chaplains in about 15 different states right now, so it's really awesome. We pray for each other, we lift each other up, we encourage each other, we share ideas about the fire chaplaincy with each other. We talk about stress, we talk about firefighter suicide. We've had some really cool guests on. Jeff Dill from the Firefighter Behavioral Health Alliance. He's the one that tracks firefighter suicides. We've had Tom Howard, the president of the Illinois Firefighter Peer Support System. And we're just going to have a great time learning together, because that's what it's all about, learning together so that we can serve our fire departments better. So again, thank you so much for tuning in today, and look forward to seeing you all again in the future. Take care, and may God richly bless you.